Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well, and today I'm talking about 5 stocks I probably will buy in a crash. And this is because we've seen some weakness in the stock market on the US side of it. Obviously Labor Day Monday, and by this time the video goes up, we'll have a good idea how the market opened up on Tuesday, and we'll probably get a feeling on Wednesday if this stock market dip is going to carry on or if we've kind of leveled out. But let's just say worst case scenario that over the course of this week the stock market does take a bit more of a tumble and we start having the stock market drop down another 5-10%. I'm going to talk about the 5 companies that I would be looking at to probably add into or start a new position in if we do get to the right chances of buying into these companies. So guys, if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. If you have always been around here, make sure you smash that like button, and we'll take a look at my list. And number 1 is Facebook, which is one of my favorite companies out there. It's one of my biggest positions next to Microsoft. And for me, Facebook is one of the companies that over the next 2 to 5 years, I see really clearly outperforming the stock market and bringing in some nice profits as an investor. And I think if Facebook can get down to some good valuations, and I think my average in price is about 160 on this company right now. But even if the stock is kind of in the 230 range maybe, I really like Facebook and I see some big opportunity in this one. Right now, even when you look at the valuation, it's not crazy. Like you compare it to some other stocks, it's still not a crazy valuation. When you think about how good that balance sheet is on the company, you think about how much profit they're going to be growing and how much revenue they're going to be growing over the next 2 to 5 years. I mean, this company is going to be posting in nearly 20% growth on that profit and revenue front, as well as maintaining that amazing balance sheet. And I feel like they're going to have to do something with that balance sheet at some point. You know, if it's a dividend, increasing the buybacks, going out and buying another company. I think Facebook's in a really good place right now. And like I say, if I have a chance to buy a decent valuation into my favorite company right now in the stock market, I'll take that opportunity because I think it will do really good things for my portfolio over the next 2 to 5 years. So if the opportunity does come into Facebook, I will be looking to buy into it. So number 2 is Google, or better known as Alphabet on the stock market. And Google is a company that I've actually never owned shares in. And it's a company that I've always looked on and thought, I like to buy that one in a dip, but I always get like taken away by like other stocks and when they're dipping. But Google's kind of like being so quiet, like it's not ever posted massive gains on the stock market. Like the stock chart kind of like gradually goes up, but it's never gone, it's never exploded. And that's kind of left it at still a decent valuation, much like what Facebook is right now. Google's kind of at a decent valuation. It's not crazy overvalued right now, and if it can have a dip into maybe the 300, the 400s range, I'd be really tempted to pick up some Google shares. And I don't think I could ever make it the biggest position in my portfolio, but it could make a great decent size up, because I think if I hold Google over the next 2 to 5 years, I think the company is going to be growing at decent profit, decent revenue. I think, you know, when you look at YouTube itself, YouTube's going to be quite dominant, especially with the younger generations coming through. And I see YouTube still growing quite massive. I think right now it's still growing at about a 30% revenue basis every year, which is pretty good. And you also think about what other industries Google's looking to get into. And let's not forget the search engine on Google. Unbelievable, like the advertising side of it. You know, if you're starting off as a company, one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to look at how you increase like top of Google search engine, advertising. And I think overall, Google's kind of one of those dominant companies that will stay still around here in 2 to 5 years. So if I do have the right chance to buy into Google, which I think it's at probably one of the better valuations, I'll probably take it. So number 3 is Tesla, and Tesla is a company that I used to own. Some of you guys that have been around here for a while probably know that I actually own Tesla. My old average basis was around 240-ish, I think. And then eventually I sold out about $900, and I felt like at the time the company was quite overvalued, and sure enough, about 2 months after, the stock dipped down to about the 300s, as well as due to the COVID situation. And really, I should have bought in the company there, and that was a mistake on my behalf. I should have really bought in on that dip, but I didn't. I was probably too busy chasing a lot of the other stocks, and this is one of the things why I say, you know, always make a shopping list where you think stocks are going to go down. So when they do go down, you're not like running around looking at stocks, and eventually 6 months later, you know, you're not looking back going, oh, I should have bought that one in the dip. And it really helps you to buy out. And for me, when the last dip happened, I kind of had a list in my head, but I didn't have enough time to have a sit down and go through it, and that's how I ended up missing Tesla really, which I should have bought. And now obviously the stock's done quite well, probably too well, and it needs a pullback, which we're starting to get. And if it can get to the right valuations, I would be tempted to buy into Tesla, because I think over the next 2 to 5 years it'll be one of the strongest companies out there really that's available on the stock market. Obviously there's a lot of things priced in there that hopefully we'll see that come out and the stock come to a better valuation. Maybe the S&P not including it might affect it, but like I say, if Tesla can get below 350 really, I would really like to buy it. If it goes below 200 into the 200 range, then I'll definitely like to buy it. It's a company that has been undervalued without a lot of things being priced into it really. When you think about the amount of gigafactories they've built up, the Model Y that's come in, obviously the share price needs to see some sort of increase that it hasn't had. But yeah, obviously Tesla, it needs to come to the right valuation. I don't want to be paying a valuation for a company where it's factoring in nearly 3 years of growth, which obviously Tesla was at one point. So I kind of want to get it at the right valuation, but if it does come to the valuation that I like, it'll be one that I'll be very keen to buy back into my portfolio. So number 4 is Square, and Square is another stock that I actually used to own. I was quite an early investor into Square. I bought around about the $20 mark, ended up selling out about the $45 mark, and for me, Square is a major payment platform that will do really well over the next coming years. Obviously, its payment side of it is absolutely fantastic, and also the Cash App is seeing some massive success as well. And you know me, I'm a fan of my payment companies. Obviously, I own Visa and MasterCard already, but I think the addition of Square, it doesn't really compete with them, obviously because of how easy it makes businesses, smaller businesses, to take card payments. But also, the Cash App as well could be a big thing, something that really PayPal should have done years ago. And I think Square will carry on being a major player. Obviously it keeps on developing its company, which I really like, bringing in more income streams, more diverse company. So like I say, if Square carries on down the road, I would really like to buy into it. The problem is when I look at the price and compared to this list right here, it's the one that's the furthest off the valuation that I'd really like to buy into. I mean, Square ideally, I would like to get into double figures. I wouldn't like to pay 3 figures for it. So it has quite a bit to drop compared to these companies. But one of those that it's a tech company, and because of the run it's been in, you might see a sharper decline in the stock, depending on what goes on with the stock market. So, we'll see what happens with Square. I would like to buy it at the right valuation, but it's one of those where it's on this list. I think it's the one that's probably least likely to go to where I want it to go. And number 5 is Visa, another payment company. But when I looked at this one, I thought, really, I like paying for Visa in the $180 range, which isn't that far off where it is right now. I believe it's just above 200. So if this stock was to go down only about 10%, it'd be kind of near prices that I might be willing to buy. I've got to say, I nearly considered putting Disney in this spot because I really like the Disney Plus platform. But I think Visa is one of those that I think kind of hasn't done as well compared to other companies on the list and in the stock market in general. And right now, we've got more and more card payments, and if everything kind of gets more popular, people go out shopping, especially like near Christmas time and everything, more and more card payments rather than cash. Visa is going to be one of those that really benefits from it. And also, when you think about developing countries, card payments as well, Visa can really dominate there as well. So for me, Visa's actually quite near good valuations for me compared to some more on this list. It's the one that I'm kind of not wanting to add into the most. I'd rather be adding into these 4, but if this is the one that comes to the right valuations and the other 4 don't, hey, I won't mind adding into Visa because I do really like the company. So these are 5 stocks that I would be looking to add into or start a position in if the stock market does dip down a little bit more. Comment down below, let me know which stocks you're looking at adding if the stock market does dip down a little bit more. I'm always interested in hearing you guys and your opinions on stocks. And as always guys, subscribe if you're new around here, smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next video.